Aloha, friends and neighbors. Welcome. This is show 998. 998 weeks I've been doing this. A lot of us don't have much respect for the old timers. Here's Ben Franklin, though. And his Poor Richard's Almanac is really enjoyable to read. It has lots of wisdom. Now lately I've been reading Captain Cook. I think Ben Franklin would really enjoy Captain Cook and his descriptions of the various cultures around the Pacific Rim. Amazing stuff. Amazing. So I've got a couple friends here. Cook talked about rats, and these are Polynesian rats. They're cute. They're really cute little guys. There's two of them here. I got them both in the same trapping. I got in the house, and so we had to pick them up. Boy, they're cute. They got these little faces. They're very mellow. Hello, little guy. He wouldn't think about biting you, no. No. Amazing thing, I discovered that some psychologist is doing rat studies. I had a rat, once a white rat, I had to train in psychology class. But anyway, they're doing these studies, and they had a bunch of these guys in a cage, and they gave them an open door out of the box on one side and a pile of food on the other side. And they were waiting to see, when they let the rat out of the cage, whether he'd go for the freedom or the food. Well, to their astonishment, the rats didn't do that. They stopped and they went back and tried to free the other rats. Yes. Now, these are Polynesian rats, and you can tell them right away because they have a nice white underbelly. Yeah? Come on, you guys. Show us your belly. Their belly fur is white, cream colored, see? These guys have never been this close to a person before. My voice scares them. Anyway, Polynesian rats came with the Hawaiians. So these rats have been in the islands for over 1,000 years. They're well adapted. We have another kind of a rat here. It's almost more of a squirrel. He's the Norwegian tree rat. He's a little bigger, and he's all dark colored, black. He's got a black underbelly and a longer tail than these Polynesians. So we got two species of rats. The Norwegian tree rat runs around in the trees. He's pure vegetarian, eats nuts and fruits, and he runs on telephone wires and stuff. The Polynesian rat, they get along on almost anything. Yeah, they like peanut butter too. So, let's see, what have I got? Now we're in a trap and release thing here, so these guys are going to get released. But before they do, I think I want to give them a little food and water. There. What this is some brown rice with a little yeast and a little peanut butter on it, and then a little water here too. We're going to release them later tonight when it's safer. In the meantime, I thought they ought to have a nice meal. What are you doing? You can't get out there. No, look out, you're just going to ruin your teeth on that. Don't even try. Enjoy your meal. Now, one of the reasons I got you here is these guys are part of the Hawaiian ecology, been here 1,000 years, but ignorant haoles and tourists and corporate people running vacation stuff consider them pests and dirty and blah blah blah, and so they poison them. And one of the things that happens is Monsanto has now got, oh, this one was thirsty. He's over there at the water first. Look at him. Anyway, Monsanto got a great new rat poison out. They call warfarin-resistant rats. Now, warfarin's what you take for heart medicine. Thins your blood. They used to use it in the cane fields to kill rats so they wouldn't eat the sugar cane. And warfarin, the rat eats some warfarin and nothing happens till he drinks water. You know, like this one. He drinks water and it kicks off the warfarin and he dies pretty fast. However, Monsanto's new devilish thing is a different kind of a poison, and these little guys eat it and then they just wander around for like a day and in a daze, and wow, it's terrible. They suffer all. It's not that so much that concerns me. What concerns me is cats and owls only will eat live animals. And so the little rat eats the stupid Monsanto poison, you know, and he wanders around, and the cats and the owls pick him off because he's moving, he's alive yet. And then the cat's poisoned and the owl's poisoned. So Monsanto has done it again to us. Where's the warfarin? You know, don't put out Monsanto rat poison on these guys. You know, you got to use the warfarin. The other thing is, the black rat has a much long, the Norwegian tree rat is bigger. He has a long tail. He has to balance off in the trees, huh? And he has a long tail, and he's black because he operates at night, and his belly is black. So when you look up in the tree, it's hard to see him. And he's a whole different species of rat. The Norwegian tree rat goes out at night and runs around the trees. And these guys are the Polynesian variety, and they're more gentle and happy. And he's going to get his feet stuck in that peanut butter. Be funny to see what he does next. He's going for that water. Anyway, amazing, yeah? Psychologists were just amazed. The rat didn't go for the freedom. He didn't go for the food. He went back to release his comrades and try to find a way to get the trap off his comrades. So these are not just stupid little animals. These are very smart. What do we name these guys? John and Harold. Anyway, tonight they'll be released out in a place where they can have a little better home. And Polynesian rats, okay? Norwegian tree rats, vegetarian. Think of the Norwegian tree rat like a big old squirrel, huh? You'd be happy to see them. They're not going to move in. They might get into your attic. They like to stay up high. These guys, they'll run around on the ground and do things. But, you know, this little animal has been in the islands for over 1,000 years. He deserves better than a Monsanto long-suffering death. Yeah. And so do our owls and our cats. So I figure that Norwegian tree rat probably came in with Europeans. And the Polynesian rat came in with the Polynesians. Gee, think of what that Polynesian rat really had it knocked when he came in here with Polynesians, because all the birds are on the ground, all the eggs are on the ground, all the baby birds just walked around on the ground. You know, I mean, those Polynesian rats, they must have multiplied so fast. Yeah, Hawaiians had dogs and pigs. Dogs and pigs are both highly intelligent, you know, but they didn't keep them as pets. Nope. Dogs and pigs were food animals. They kept the raven. Captain Cook was very clear about this. The most common house pet along the Kona coast, 200,000 people, was a large black bird. So they had to jump in there kind of fast and save the ala, because when they're young, they just haul down the tree and walk around on the ground, and easy pickings, huh, for those Polynesian rats. Same with the goose, the nene, the little ones, huh, and the eggs. They're the vulnerable ones. It's hard to spot the Norwegian tree rat because they're all black on the bottom, and they're just like squirrels. You know how squirrels move so fast in the trees? Well, that Norwegian tree rat, he can run along a telephone wire or a branch, and at night, And he's so quick and so fast. It's hard to spot him. When you spot one, it's hard to keep track of him. Very elusive animal. It's funny because he's got a very long tail he balances with, whereas a squirrel has a shorter, fluffy tail full of fur. They both got tails and they use them for balance, I'm sure. Anyway, yes, I'm interested in rats because I'm interested in birds, because I'm interested in the original Hawaii and what it was like. Well, let's get down to business. We're going to do 998, the sky mirror, for you. From the middle of January to the 24th, the third week in January 2016. We're having very interesting full moons and new moons now. These new moons are hitting 19 degrees, which is Uranus. Now, you had a 19-degree new moon that squared Uranus, and that was on the 10th of January. Now, the one before that was the trine to Uranus from Sagittarius, and you had Brotherhood from December 11th to January 10th. And then you've got this nasty one, squared Uranus. The heck with Brotherhood and the homeless and Aquarian thought, common sense. Stand out from the crowd, get a hammer and knock them down. It's the way it is now due to this new moon. There'll be another new moon up ahead that will be more in harmony. There's an Aquarius new moon on February 8th, and it likes Uranus, and so Brotherhood will be back on for a month. The unions, all of that. The full moon cycle now is also interesting. It's set off by 2 weeks from the new moon cycle. You got to think like an American Indian, you know. You want to make this deal? Come back in 2 moons. So these full moons are at 3 degrees. And we had that nasty one that was red in Gemini on the rising sign of the U.S. And I said they're going to be trying to pick a fight. That was the 25th of November, so it covered the whole month of December right up till the Christmas. And sure enough, all you heard about was the terrible ISIS people. They're going to invade us. We're just totally focused, and we went a little lunatic-like about these so-called enemies, which is just silly. I had lady clients call me and say, "My goodness, they're going to come over here and make me a slave." So, anyway, there was lunacy about this, and as proves out the rising sign. Then we had this full moon at 3 degrees of Cancer on Christmas. By the way, as per prediction, Kauai had a power blackout Christmas night. Wasn't even in the papers, hard to find. I had people there call me up, just like you said, power blackout. Anyway, this one in the U.S. chart opposes the Venus and has to do with money and banks and all that kind of stuff for a month until you get to the next full moon, which is January 23rd. And that one's at 3 Leo. That one's back in harmony with the U.S. chart, the U.S. government chart, which has 5 Gemini rising. So this one says the USA government is going to settle down and be sane, and everybody's going to go along with what our government likes for a month, following January 23rd for a month until the next full moon. So the full moons are setting off the U.S. chart. The new moons are setting off your internal Aquarian attitudes, on, off, on, off. Fascinating things, these lunations, aren't they? Well, down to the business at hand. I've drawn up a chart here for you, and we're going to go through it and see what's coming up for you on a day-by-day basis so that you might better plan the next 10 days. And here's our Friday. Gosh, Uranus is still squaring Pluto, Saturn's still squaring Neptune, okay? But Neptune's getting a little help from Mars, The young people in the military, they like the pre-stardust doctor right now. Jupiter is coming up on, Jupiter's on the North Node. Hooray! This is a big thing. It is. The North Node is mothering and nurturing, and to have Jupiter stop and station there, wow, really increases how we take care of people in the world. So I'm really into that. Now Mercury goes direct on the 25th of January. Make a note, 11:51 a.m. But Jupiter conjunct the North Node and trining the Sun is right now for you. Really nice. The Moon triggers it Monday afternoon. So there's 2 times when all of this laughter and celebration and good humor and mothering and nurturing, you see the truth of it all. And it'll be particular for Monday afternoon, and then Friday night. This Moon node kind of wonderful thing gets set off. Let's go around this day by day, okay? Here we are on Thursday, the 14th, and you know, the Moon goes into Aries in the afternoon, and it starts to feel a little bit hectic, because on Friday, here you are on Friday at dinner time or so. First, here's a trine to Saturn, happens in the middle of the day, just after lunch and stuff, and oh, I'm getting all organized, things are fine, everything's running right along nicely. And then we got the square to Pluto at 16. That comes in around dinner time. Eek, a bug! A little panicky. The power? Is it going to go off again? The concern with Uranus and the power and the connections and the sudden zap of higher consciousness comes in after the panicky feeling, and so you won't feel that till like 10, 11 o'clock, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. The Moon will hit Uranus depending on your location in your own chart, and it could be quite pleasant, because here Saturday morning, this is like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, here's Venus smiling at us. Oh boy, pleasure, fun. This is really Friday night. If you can get by all the herky-jerky of Friday and the unusual weird happenings and all the shakings and stuff, yeah, well, then you might be able to reap some of the benefits of the pleasure and the fun and the sweets here late Friday night. But it's really early Saturday morning. You stay up late, you try to catch this. This is like 4 a.m., 3, 4 o'clock a.m. in the morning. And even then, it may be kind of a fleeting pleasure, because there's Mercury, and he's in square, and the kids are making noise, and you can't think, and talking messes up all the pleasure real bad Saturday morning. There's a square to the Sun Saturday afternoon. You're not getting anything done on the 16th. On my birth certificate, it says I was born January 16th. My solar return said it doesn't really even start until Sunday late. So my birthday is largely on Monday, January 18th, my solar return. More on that a little bit later. Anyway, that's nice, because here's the trine to Jupiter. So if you want to wish your astrology a happy birthday, do so in the afternoon or the middle of the day, when the Moon is trining Jupiter. Everybody's laughing and feeling good. Good communication. You know, as soon as the Moon went into Taurus, on Sunday, first in the morning early, we had an opposition to Mars. And everybody's a little ticked off, and we're tired of the sports and all the raging and, you know, the hot stuff and the fires and all of that. And then here, just about lunchtime, is a sextile to Neptune, and there's music. And the higher heart comes out. A little compassion can fix a lot of fires. Can it? I'm not sure. But, was it Ben Franklin said, if you're lucky enough to survive a shipwreck, you know, give your insurance money to the church? No, give it to the guy who's building the lighthouse. Anyway, Sunday, Neptune, nice sextile to Neptune. Middle of the day, good time for church, for music, for compassion, for getting together and, with your brethren. Religion goes well here. There's discovery late Sunday night. This is around 10 o'clock or so, 9, 10 o'clock, with the moon trining Pluto. That's good. Find out some new things. Do some Sherlock Holmes work. Monday, the moon's still in Taurus. Got great communication going here with the trine to Mercury starting at breakfast. Middle of the day, here's Jupiter and the node laughing in the afternoon and the evening. And aha, now I see it clear. Happens all Monday afternoon and evening. Even 10, 11 o'clock here is a trine to the sun, and you say, whoa, I got a lot done. I'm better off for all this new stuff. Monday night, the 18th. My solar return. Tuesday, on the 19th, the moon shifts into Gemini. Everything changes. Starts with confusion in the afternoon when the moon squares Neptune at Pisces, and it gets worse as it opposes Saturn, and you're stuck. There's too much rain, there's too much mud, there's too much bad smells, there's too much insecurity. Now, Neptune is a tricky guy, This is, I won't get into it, but, this you got to use your nose and investigate smells right away, because your nose isn't dependable. It cycles out smells. And in a couple minutes you don't smell it anymore. You go out and refresh yourself someplace and recharge your nose, go back into the polluted area, you'll smell it again, but only for 2-3 minutes. Your nose is set up to be defensive. So whatever it's smelling, it gives you a warning. Here's the smell, you better pay attention. And then it fades out and gets ready for the new smell. That's the way the nose is. Anyway, use it Tuesday. Yeah. Wednesday morning on the 20th, here's a sextile to Uranus. There's some higher consciousness going and common sense. And boy, we're going to need it. And as the moon goes through Gemini. Here Wednesday night, the moon squares Jupiter and opposes Venus. Too much fun, too much pleasure, too much nurturing. What do you mean partying? We're overdoing it all Wednesday night. Thursday, the moon shifts into Cancer. There's your full moon at 3 degrees of Cancer. And, it's... This is where the last full moon was. So this is the last of the currency upsets and the bankers and the rich people and all of that stuff. Kind of comes to some lunatic end here on Thursday morning. Then you could get some faith back Thursday night. There's a trine to Neptune, and there's a trine to Mars, and we can get through this. We get a lot of heroes around. Trouble is, Mercury's not happy. Communication problems here. And here's Pluto and Uranus again. It's shifted to Friday morning. Eek, a bug, I'm panicky. Happens at breakfast. And then within an hour or so, here's a square to Uranus. Power blackouts? It's the things it's the connections. Unplug them and plug them. But here's another panicky, sudden situation that's, Friday, the first half of the day. Probably settles down a little bit when you get to Friday night, because here's this feels a little better. Here's a sextile to the node and Jupiter, and we're nurturing and we're laughing again. It's Friday night, the 22nd. Good show. Continues right through Saturday and breakfast time. Then as you go towards the middle of the day, there's the new full moon at 3 Leo. And the USA government's going to be happy. It finally gets a month's break from all of this lunacy. And it's not a bad full moon. It squares Mars a little, but I don't know. Moon's in Leo Saturday the 23rd. And so it's in Leo also on 24th. And Sunday morning starts with a square to Mars, though. And eek, everybody's losing their temper and they're all irritated and they're rushing. Don't rush to get there. It'll be there anyway. Just wait a little while. An hour after all the rushing and impatience is there, well, there's a trine to Saturn. It all settles down. You got a nice plan. Yes. And as you go through Sunday, in the afternoon and evening, here's the moon trines Uranus, and there's common sense clicked in. Not bad for the middle of Leo, huh? It was Christmas Day, and what did I see on TV? John Wayne, full-time. Cowboys, cowboys. And I got thinking, is cowboy? Why is that a nice name? Cows aren't that admirable, and boys aren't. So we have cowboys. No, something's wrong here. But then I started thinking, and we're cow people. You know, we drink. You know what happens when you drink a bunch of cow's milk? Cow's milk is made to get long thigh bones and get that animal up and running quick. So when you drink a lot of cow's milk, you wind up with tall people like we do in the U.S. Happened in Japan after the war because Ike didn't have food for the Japanese, so he sent powdered milk, and the Japanese shot up an inch or two suddenly. Is that good to be tall like a cow? I don't know. Human milk builds the nervous system, not the bones. It's very different. More like goat's milk is much better. So here we got a bunch of cow people. We're eating beef all the time. We're drinking milk all the time. And we love cowboys. Something funny going on here. Not sure I like it. Okay, here's a strange thought. You know, when you look up in the sky and you see all those pieces of light, those are all the people and the planets and the ones in your family, Mars and Venus, brother and sister, Jupiter and Saturn, uncle and grandpa, sun and moon, mom and dad. Those are all people in your family. Uranus and Neptune are there too. The techie, the tinker is Uranus. Neptune is the priest, the doctor. They show up now and then. But what about a comet? They make a big deal. Oh, when comets show up, all the primitive people get all scared. You know what, folks? Comets only show up once in a lifetime or something. They're kind of like an alien. And I started thinking, why should they be afraid of this strange person that shows up suddenly? Because you get people come in like Captain Cook or Cortez or Pizarro, and you know what? Those strangers carry epidemics. And so a comet is a thing to fear because it's just like one of these alien people coming in, and they brought death and epidemics to all the people they came and visited. Get right down to it. It's the little things that matter. Thank you, Daryl and Regina on Maui. Aim high, aloha. Nobody tells me what to say.